Ted Cruz is going to be holding an event in the Bronx, in New York. First to New York GOP Chairman Ed Cox. Ed, good to see you.
Good to see you, Neil.
Those numbers don't shock me, but I bet you that if they were all talked to after Wisconsin, Trump's numbers wouldn't be that
Let's
big.
put this in context. The greatest political show on earth is coming to New York State. And I think our ring in this, the Republican side, could be very decisive. We're the only primary on April 19th, and the grassroots of the Republican Party, for the first time in the history of Republican primaries, presidential primaries in New York State, the grassroots can decide who the nominee is going to be.
So you can't take sides in this. You're not taking
I'm not taking sides. No, we're helping them all get their message out.
You know, perception becomes reality. The perception is Donald Trump has to win and win big. Is that a...
Do you look at the numbers? That's where the numbers are.
So he has got a big lead here. Do you think that lead will hold?
I don't know, and I don't think anyone knows. And this is New York. This is New York.
I would think you would know.
I wish I could, but my job is to make sure that the three candidates connect with the grassroots and get their message across, and we let the grassroots decide. This is their exciting moment.
I understand. I know establishment is a bad word these days. But
bad. I don't know where it is. I can't find the establishment.
You're seen as an establishment guy. I don't know if that's fair or right. But I'm told the establishment, even in New York State, not too keen on Donald Trump. Is that true?
I don't think that's true. I mean, he has done here in New York. You take a look at what he did with Walman Rink.
Right.
Building the Grand Hyatt.
Oh, look around.
At a time when New York City was flat on its back. By the way, that's where we're having our big annual dinner on April 14th.
In the Walman Rink?
No, at the Grand Hyatt.
Oh, I was going to say.
Just a coincidence that it's there, but he rebuilt it. It was the old Commodore Hotel, and
he's brilliant. And then
42nd Street was going to see.
He has to win and win big here. What amazes
he has to win big
in this poll is you talk about a lot of people say John Kasich shouldn't be in the race. He's second in this state.
That's very interesting. I always thought that John Kasich could appeal to the suburban moms here in New York City. He appeals to upscale, downstate here in Manhattan, certain parts of Brooklyn. In those congressional districts, he could very well. But he needs the resources to do the air war and get into every one of those.
There are others who are saying to the party, why don't you just step down, Governor? You have no realistic shot of getting the nomination. I know he's hoping for a contested convention. That might or might not happen, but give it up, you say?
They're both saying that. So they're both saying, you're hurting the other guy. And he's saying, no, look.
Do you think those Kasich votes, then that would go to Cruz?
They are each saying the votes would go to the other. So I don't know who's right, who's wrong, but he's the only governor, the person who has actually got a real record here of long-standing, going back to when he was chairman of the Budget Committee.
No, he has great credentials.
And he's going to be a contestant. So he's got his own lane. He's saying, I'm going to stay in this lane, and I'm going to keep in it.
Do you think there will be a contested convention?
I don't know. It depends what happens here in New York. I think if, in fact, Donald Trump stays at his 55% the way we work, he will probably get a large majority. He'll get, of the delegates, he will get his big mo back, and he can then go on to
So you're not among those who
who
thinks he's imploding?
I don't think he does need to build up his organization and build up very quickly. You cannot operate a campaign out of your hip pocket. You need to have an organization. I know he's trying to do that, and that's very important. I think you're going to see the growing pains in that organization.
Well, then let me ask you real quickly. I know my producers are getting upset here, but when the Trump campaign put out a statement last night, it was far from magnanimous on the victory of Ted Cruz. They still called him lying dead, that he's in the hip pocket of the establishment, blah, blah, blah. Even a tweet out today made no reference to his losing Wisconsin. Does he sound, or does he risk sounding, like a whining baby?
Neil, if he had done anything else, he would not have been in character. That's where he is. He fights back. He punches back.
Do you find that childish?
This is what he does. And
I know,
been his style. It's been his style all along, and it's succeeded for him to date.
Would you, if you just came out of losing a race, would you act that way the next day?
I'm not running. I would not want to. I would not want to advise Donald Trump. If I had been advising Donald Trump, I'm not sure my advice would have been good for him.
All right, because the worse your late father-in-law, Richard Nixon, that is, after losing in California, that he wanted Dick Nixon to kick around anymore, and he didn't.
And you know what?
Ever do this?
And you know what? It was the greatest comeback ever.
That's right.
After that. By the way, I'm glad he lost.
Yeah.
because he came back to New York, and that's why I met Tricia.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, now it all comes
Yeah, in
together.
1963 as high school. I went to a high school dance and met her there.
I remember the wedding. All right.
Oh, you're not that old, are you?
I am actually. Well, as a kid. All right.
Okay.
Very good to see you. Thank you very
Good
much.
to see
Ted
you,
Coxey,
Neil.
New York GOP Chairman, a real gentleman.